What's up, everybody? This is Pitch the World, episode 8. There you go, Drew. Waiting for the hands. My name is Adam Kemper. We have Andrew Rosso, my co-host. This is our 8th episode, and today we're so pleased to have Dr. Vernet Joseph. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Thanks, Doctor.
As just kind of a brief recap of our prior episodes, and in case our audience is new to the show, just want to touch on what we're all about here at Pitch the World. We are an arm of Pitch Investors Live, so we're very entrepreneurial driven. Both Andrew and myself are both entrepreneurial millennial lawyers, so we strive to provide valuable content for an entrepreneurial business driven audience. So we have people from the startup side to the investor side to everything in between, and we seek to have guests from all sort of aspects of business and as well mental health. That's a very important topic for both Andrew and myself. So in the first couple of episodes, we had Kevin Harrington, the original shark from Shark Tank, on episode 1. And he was great. If you guys haven't seen that episode, I encourage you to tune in. Episode 2, we had the founder, or actually no, episode 2, do we have Dr. Elisa? Andrew? I'm beginning to forget. We've had too many episodes now.
No, Dr. Lisa was the start of our mental health awareness and series. It was a very wonderful kind of transition into understanding yourself and appreciating yourself in the sense of believing what you want to do, carrying through what you want to do, going to your theme of productivity, Doctor. And it was a wonderful transition into the mental health awareness that Adam and I are so passionate about.
Phenomenal.
And we also had Brian Cuban also touch on his mental health issues and his book, The Addicted Lawyer. And he was also a wonderful guide to just that there's more to business than just what meets the eye. There's also all these mental health issues, and it's something that's very important that we want to drive home to our audience. So we wanted to bring Dr. Vernet onto the show today to bring a new element to our audience, and that's the topic of productivity. And that's how to maximize your time. And there's no greater person on this very topic than Dr. Vernet Joseph, who speaks around the world on this very topic. He's written a number of books. He has a very important summit coming up. We'll talk to him about that. And I'm so thrilled to have you with us today to just kind of hone into some of those wonderful pieces of advice that you can give to our entrepreneurial driven audience. And also to talk about the event you have coming up on June 8th. So, Dr. Vernet, if we could start by just introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Damien and Adam, for having me on. Listen, I'm a simple man with a simple plan to change the world by helping people to be productive in every area of their life. And I believe that this is possible. Most people don't look at time the right way. Remember this, that we are all equal in time, but we are separated by how we produce in it. So when you look at time, remember, we are equal in it, but we are separated by how we produce. And when I tell you a little bit about myself, I'm just a young man who really believes in people. And when you learn how to maximize people, you learn how to maximize time, then you learn how to live and maximize your life. And those are the 3 main components of living a productive life. I call it productivity 360. That's in every area of your life. It's horrible to be excellent in one area, but just mediocre in another. So what I try to help people do is to live life. That's legacy, influence, focus, and execution. That's how you get that productivity in every area of your life. So who am I? I'm just a simple man with a plan who wants to change the world, one person, one entrepreneur, one business, one country, one step at a time, by teaching people how to live out their passion, work out their purpose, and continue to maximize their productivity.
Awesome. And through looking at your bio, I saw that you spent 20 years in the Army. I mean, I can imagine that you had, obviously some impactful experiences through that. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how it helped shape you and what you're doing today?
And first and foremost, thank you for your service and your time that you've done. So
I definitely appreciate that. Thank you so much. I salute both of you as you are in your craft, making the world a better place. When I think about my military career, I can honestly say that I'm grateful, thankful, as well as humbled. There are a lot of my colleagues who didn't make it through to this side retirement. There are a lot of my colleagues who we lost along the way, brave men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice. But what can I say about my military service? I was already someone who was hungry, who was thirsty to literally maximize my life. But when I decided to come into the military, it was because I wanted a firm foundation. In my family's tenure, if you would, we've got about 135 years of military service.
Wow.
So it almost was like I was destined to go, but I went on my terms. I
Sure.
decided that I wanted a firm foundation. I wanted to give back to my country and get an opportunity to travel the world. Well, they have definitely done that. I've been in over 60 plus countries, making an impact in the lives of people all around the world. I used to be, or still am, or however you want to put it, a logistics officer by trade and a contracting professional as well. I chose, as I speak to the youth around the world, I chose something that I know or knew no matter where I went on this planet, they would still need myself or my service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a part of being productive in the mind, forecasting and thinking about life even after the military. So when you look at that, even in your business, gentlemen, that's the thing that I teach people. How do you maximize your time, your efforts, and your energy? Some people would call that T, but it's time, efforts, and energy. And in doing so, pick what you love. I have a famous quote that I've told all around the world, and it's do what you love, and what you love will always do you well. See, when you're doing what you love, guess what, folks? You don't work a day in your life.
Very
So,
true.
yes, I have worked. I have been in the military for 20 plus years, but the whole time I was doing what I loved. I got a trade, I got a skill. I work with great professionals all around the world, from the lowest ranking to the highest ranking. And it was truly, truly, truly one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life.
did this come naturally to you? This passion, this injection into this trade?
To be honest with you, I've always been what I like to call a relationships guy. So, yes and no. One, I did have to learn some things, but relationships is what I call the new currency. Everyone's always chasing a dollar, but what they fail to understand that your relationships will
Yep,
far outweigh the dollars that you
always.
may be chasing. There's a 20-year-old relationship that took me to a whole nother country, that got me in front of parliament, that got me into the chambers of commerce. That was a relationship, not a dollar amount. There are other
Mm-hmm.
relationships that have helped me to begin to be a world civility ambassador. That was a relationship, not a dollar amount. You gentlemen start businesses and help people to be more productive in the areas of their lives because of a relationship. The
Mm-hmm.
new currency, folks, is relationships. And because of that currency, yes, you could say it was easy, but we know anything worth having is worth fighting for. And I've done a lot of fighting, my friends, but I'm happy to
Absolutely.
say I'm still here.
There
No, I
you
love
go.
that. I love that comment. Relationships are the new currency, and it's so true. I mean, there's so much value to networking and investing in relationships and putting in the time, even though you may not get the net result you want right away. It is a process,
Yes.
and there's so many seeds that you can plant. It just takes time, and it takes the right mindset. So I think what you're saying makes so much sense.
And our generation is guilty of not really appreciating that. I mean, Adam, I don't know how many people you know, or can identify with this or associate with this, but our generation, doctor, is very impulsive. It's this unofficial or superficial mindset of what I want to happen will come, even if I don't work for it. I can sit here, and the money's going to come. The relationships are going to come. There are so many people I know and work with, and they don't understand the value of networking, of talking to the person next to them, regardless of what the outcome may be, because you never know what that relationship can do with you in a month, 2 months, or a year or so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have garnered relationships, gentlemen. I mean, to be honest with you, I believe it's relationships that has all three of us on the line today, right?
Very true.
And
Very
when
true.
you look at that, you have to ask yourself why, who, when, and what. What am I here to bring to the table? How can I assist people? I believe in my heart that the more you serve, the better off you become. People are chasing, again, a dollar, but what they need to be chasing is the opportunity to serve. Money is literally a byproduct of service. And once we understand that and we begin to serve, we will never want another day in our lives.
Well,
Very,
that's why
very, very true.
that's why a lot of these ventures fail. If money is the only thing on your mind, there's the expression, money doesn't sleep. Money will always come naturally if you are passionate about the bigger picture. And if you're only focusing on that short-term goal of how much money can I bring in today, you start to cut out what's around you. And that includes your relationships. So I love everything you said.
Yeah,
And that's
one of the biggest
yeah.
things I would say to you, Adam and Damien, is this: never, never, never negate, the quality, the quantity, the value for a shortcut. And that's what many people do. They try to go for the shortcut and they miss out. Why do people go to the Ritz-Carlton? Why do people go to certain restaurants? Because it's the service, it's the
Right.
value that you get. When you recognize that service is key, when you recognize that everything else can bow down to service, man, life is totally different, folks. It's totally different.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that actually brings up a good point. I have a lawyer in my firm that he always speaks to our summer associates, and I bring him in every year. And one thing he says about our profession is that as attorneys, clients don't always remember the result, but they remember the service. They remember
Oh,
you picked
yes.
up the phone and you answered the call, even if it was after hours or on the weekends or
Mm-hmm.
when you were on
Yep.
vacation or answering emails. So clients remember that. I mean, our industry is service oriented, and just about every industry is. That you have to cater to your clients, and people remember that. You know,
Mm.
um,
How does technology play into your passion, doctor, into what you do?
Well, what a wonderful question. Let's take a look at this. We are all three people in three different locations at three different time or maybe two different time dimensions, but we're able to communicate to the world right now because of technology. The way of the world is technology. You've got to think and ask yourself, what was Kodak thinking, right? Let's go back to the Polaroid, right? Shake it like a Polaroid or whatever the case may be.
There you
Let's
go.
think about that. What happened to the companies when things were shifting, when technology was coming along? If you don't have the mindset to get on the bandwagon with technology, you're going to get left behind. That's why there are multi-million-dollar companies being formed right now and putting mom and pops or old box businesses out of business because they're not willing to get with the trend. Listen to me. Let's think about this. DoorDash right now. Where did that come from? Right? Netflix, where did that come from? Streaming television, where did that come from? All the things that are prevalent today, it literally wiped out Blockbuster, these different things. Why? Because they sat back and they were innovative. And they said, how can we enhance the of the customer, the client, or whomever, however you want to call your target
right.
audience? And the moment that they figured out, if we just tweak this thing just a tad bit, anytime you change something by 25%, you something new. So technology is a game changer. Why does Walmart have Facebook? Why does all of these different places have social media? Because they recognize they can't get away from it. I can't tell you how many people on a daily basis I touch around the world because of the simple thing that we're on right now. And with someone's cell phone, there's more technology in that cell phone than it took to put a man on the moon. So tell me, technology, you better get with it or get left behind.
I love it. I love it. Now, when is technology too much?
To be honest with you, this is what I always tell people. Let's talk social media from the technology standpoint, right? What most people fail to understand is you can either use something as a tool or you can use it as a toy. I don't care about you going to the grocery store. I don't care about what you ate last night. But if you're doing it from a business perspective, Gary Vee will give you a glimpse into his life. But this is what people miss. Gary Vee's going to make money. He's telling you, hey, I'm on my way over here to go meet this client. I'm on my way over here to go do XYZ. People now begin to follow Gary Vee and see his lifestyle. But what most people miss is every time he's on, he's making money. So what are you using it as? Are you using it as a tool or are you using it as a toy? Technology, computers, laptops, whatever the case may be, Skype, WhatsApp, all of these different things that are out there allow us to bring commerce closer to us. So as a business professional, as an entrepreneur, have a technological platform. Now, the question is, what platform do you need to
Yep.
be on? And that's when you start looking at analytics and tracking metrics.
What's your
Well,
favorite platform?
that actually brings up a really
It
good
depends on
point.
what we're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you ask what's the favorite platform, it depends on what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because think
Well,
about
for
this.
for
When
you,
when you look at a platform, if you want to share a picture, like okay, I'll give you an example, a glimpse into me. If you go to my Facebook right now, every day you're going to see a 60 seconds of productivity video. That's just to invigorate people and motivate them, but not only motivate them, inspire them so that they can do better in life. They need to know that they can, right? But every Sunday, you're always going to see a post of me and my family serving. Now, let me explain why. Because every day of the week, I have named them. Make It Happen Monday, Thought Provoking Tuesday, Work It Out Wednesday, Turn It Around Thursday, Follow Through Friday, Spectacular Saturday, and Service Oriented Sunday. Every day has a name, and the name reveals its nature. That's what I do in those days. So I'm sharing with the world on all platforms to include Instagram and LinkedIn. Now, many people would say, well, LinkedIn is where business people play. Why would you put that on there? Because people need to know that you're real.
yep,
They need to know that you're not a robot, right? So again, it depends on what you're sharing, depending upon the platform.
I like it.
That's a wonderful point, and I think so much of our audience in the startup world or the entrepreneurs that are just getting their business started, I think they really need to hear how valuable it is to utilize social media in the appropriate manner, to not waste their time, to actually be productive with their time, and if they're going to get on social media, as you pointed out, to do it for a business related purpose, to do it, a short burst of information, but to get people interested. And I
Mm-hmm.
think in this day and age, that's what business is right now. It's a lot of it is so much online, and so many people care about your social media influence.
Absolutely. I really believe in my heart when you look at the people who have, amassed this great following on social media, ask yourself why. Go do the trend analysis, the study, and say, how often were they on? How many times did they post? What did they post about? Was there value added when they posted? Many people try to mock or mimic people, but they don't understand the systems and the strategy behind what they're doing. What is the system and the strategy? When systems and the right strategy, you can get the right evidence and the right results. But if you're just copying someone, you don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And because you really don't know what they're doing, you're just putting stuff out there at random, wondering why it's not working for you. If I want to have a client lead magnet, then I've got to tell the client why they need me. right? If I just want to put something out there just to share with my family so that my family can actually see my kids, then I take a regular picture and say, enjoying life with my kids, right? If you look at video, how long should a video be? What is the content of the video? Should the video have things coming across like we're doing right now on this actual live broadcast, right? There is a time and there's a place for every single thing. But the question is, have you taken the time to do the analysis to see what works for you? That's what most people are missing.
I think I found my new social media manager.
That's
No,
awesome.
it's
That's awesome.
very, very well. Very well spoken.
One thing I wanted to dive into real quick, because you mentioned it, I also read it in your bio, is your family, and is taking some time to spend with your family, and also fitting that within schedule, being an entrepreneur, doing all the things that you're doing, but still being present for family.
Absolutely.
Can you touch on that?
Yes. So when we begin, now let's throw this word out of the picture, balance. Balance is not obtainable. Why? Because at one level, you're going to be up, the other level, you're going to be down. So let's talk about harmony. Harmony is what you're looking for. I still have to be a father. I still have to be a husband. I still have to be a leader. I still have to be a serial entrepreneur, speaker X, Y, and Z, right? But how do I equate or allot my time? When you value time, you will make sure that you manage it properly. If you don't value it, you'll just do whatever happens. If I'm on the road to get to Miami, Florida, and I'm not on I-95, and I tell you I'm on the 202, you're going to look at me and ask, what in the world are you doing? Right? Think about that. But isn't that what we do with family? We say, hey, I want to be the breadwinner. I want to make this amount. I want to be able to travel all around the world. Well, when in the world are you going to schedule time for your family? If you don't schedule it in, it will never happen. Here's the key. Here's the key. What you focus on actually gets done. When you say you want to take a vacation, what do? You set up everything around you. You prepare things so that you're not bothered on that vacation so that you can enjoy that vacation. Well, that's the same thing that you should do for every day of the week, for your business, for your family, for your personal time. I don't care who you are on the planet, you still need your personal time. If you're married, you should still be able to give devoted time for your spouse. If you have children, you should invest time with them because you say that you want them to trust and believe in you. But if you're never around, how can you do it? Because remember, let's go back, that dollar doesn't change the way they feel about mom or dad, right? So sometimes, and I know you guys have heard this story before. I'll give it to you really quickly. There was a young son who was dealing with his father, and literally his father was always on the go, always busy. The young son saved up his allowance to make it very short and told the dad, Dad, can you tell me how much an hour of your time cost? Until the son saved that amount of money, the son comes back and said, Dad, here you go. Can I just have an hour with you? Can you imagine? Yeah. So when you start looking at life and you start saying to yourself, how do you maximize your time? Listen, there are certain times I'm unavailable. Why? Because it's family time. Don't matter what the number is. You want to know why? Because when they know that they're that important to you, that you'll shut things down, they appreciate it. And when people who you're doing business with recognize that, whether I'll use myself, you're a family man, and on Sunday is not the day that you're going to do regular business. Sunday is service day. They know that they can send an email and we can take care of that contract on Monday. They begin to respect you because they see how much you value your time.
You need to set boundaries. I mean, I think that's key. Is you just gotta, you gotta cut off. And I'm still working on it myself. I have 2 kids and full-time job, entrepreneur, etc. But when you're home, you're home. When you're at work, you're at work. And you gotta have those lines of demarcation and just totally separate the two so that you could fully be present in every moment.
Yes. Very important. That's the one thing. I have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, 2 girls. And I'm promising you, One of the reasons that I'm retired today from the military is because I said I wanted to be home for their teenage years. I could have done another 20 years in the military, but I decided to say it was time for me to cut my losses and go enjoy and invest time with my girls.
Well, you're in
Awesome.
control of your own life, your future, your decisions, and that's the most important thing, is knowing that you are in control. Nobody else is in control. You are.
Yes, yes. You are literally the captain of your destiny. The question is, what are you going to do with it? What plans will you make? Watch this. If you would sweat in preparation, you would never have to bleed in battle. And that is necessary for everything that you do. If you will sweat in the preparation of starting your business, preparing your business, having the right mentors and coaches for your business, you will know that you'll have longevity in business. But if you start off haphazardly, right, and you're not giving your all to that business, do you really expect it to thrive and flourish? And that's what most people miss. You got to get in the right spaces, in the right places, so that you can move to the right phases in life.
That's really, really, really impactful. I mean, I really hope people are tuning into this now and after the fact, and they're starting to think through some of these things that you're saying, because it's incredible. Some of the advice that you're providing to people in general. I mean, whether you're an employee, an employer, entrepreneur, all of this stuff, should be resonating.
Absolutely.
Now, with millennials, I mean, Adam and I are on the same age. How many people or individuals our age do you come across on the daily, and what are some of the challenges that you see that you feel may hold some of us back? That it could be fear of the unknown. What are you seeing? What are you observing?
I would definitely say that. You could say, the fear of the unknown. It's actually the fear of people in some instances, and the fear of actually failing. What I've learned about millennials is, what? I want, how I want it, when I want it. But life is not always that way, right? So long gone are the days where I work 30 years and get the little gold watch, right? As a millennial, you're like, no, I can jump around. I can use my skill here and there. But where's the longevity in it? Notice when I spoke that acronym, or the acrostic of life, it's legacy, influence, focus, and execution. The millennial now has to go backwards and go and say, what legacy am I leaving? What kind of influence do I have?
Mm-hmm.
What focus am I really, taking time to look at? And how am I executing it? I deal with millennials on a daily basis. Why? Because, man, I don't even remember the exact amount right now, but you guys are killing it, man. you know, and, and be honest with you. Let's look at you two gentlemen. Look at the work that you've done. Look at the jobs that you currently have. Look at the platform that you've built, right? Millennials are thinkers. Millennials are also a cause-driven people.
True.
So when you understand that, if you put a thinker and a cause-driven person together, watch this. You need to have a speaker, you need to have a doer, you need to have a visionary, and you need to have an executionist. So when you look at that, what is missing? All you want is that 4-part quadrant. If you can feel all 4 parts, you're in for a thriving business. So is there something wrong with the millennial? No, I wouldn't say so. Can we get some longevity on the millennial? That's the number one key. If we can get millennials to say, what, I'm sold out to this cause, and I'm going to work in this specific area using my brain trust in helping other people, bringing and collaborating together, man, the world would be a totally different space and place. The thing that millennials teach older folks is that you can't be afraid to jump out there, because the older folks stayed in one spot forever because they had a fear of failure. Now, when you start talking fear of people, the one thing I love about the millennial is the millennial says, if you can do it, so can I. And that's a great quality. If you can do it, so can I. And I often tell people, if I can see it, I can run towards it. If I can think or believe it, then I must achieve it. If it's possible, then I must obtain it. That is what I learned from millennials. And that is the mantra of productivity. If you can see it, you can achieve it. It doesn't matter how far fetched it may seem or look to be, because this platform that you all have created, where was it 10 years ago? How did it come about? It was a culmination of things that you saw, and you said, this would be a good world. Look at what's happening. So that's what I would say.
That's awesome. So, we kind of touched on it in the social media realm, but I also want to talk about how important it is to physically do public speaking, to physically be engaging with your audience, and the impact that you can provide in that manner.
Absolutely. I train speakers all the time. And this is the first thing that I tell people. Number one, what is your story? What do you do to make the world a better place? There's something on the inside of you that the world needs. The moment that you begin to speak it, there are nations waiting to hear it. Some people care about the whales. That's a cause. That's something that pricked their heart. They begin to speak on it and how it affected them. Some people care about pollution. Some people care about different things. The moment that you start to articulate and put into a story form your life, you can start impacting people not only locally, but around the world. The moment that you get enough on the inside of you, or intestinal fortitude to tell your story, that's when lives begin to change. Oh, by the way, let me share this with you. Nobody cares about your accolades and your accomplishments. They more so care about where you came from, how you hurt. They need to see that there is something like me in you. And the moment that you begin to share that, you can take them to the accolades later, but you never start off there. What you show them is, I once was in this state, and this is how I got to the point that I'm at. It's a story. Once you articulate your story properly, people will watch this. And I got a few, if it's okay, Hope. I'm not advertising. I just want to share with people, right?
Please do.
So this book right here, It's Possible, A Productive State of Mind, came from my head, right? It came from the things that I experienced in my life. And I wanted to show people that it is possible. No matter what you think about, no matter how far-fetched it is, it's possible if you keep a productive state of mind. This book right here, 35 Insights to Live a Productive Life. 35 things that were happening in my life, or things that I experienced, that I said, if I continue this on a daily basis, man, I could literally live a productive life. This book I wrote with some buddies of mine. It's How to Get Something Out of Nothing. 21 Power Plays for Serial Entrepreneurs. Why do these things come about? Get it out of your head and into someone's hand, and watch how your story will change somebody's life. I wrote this book, which we're launching in Jamaica with a good friend of mine, right? According to his word, right? This is a book, a 31-day devotional for entrepreneurs. I've helped hundreds of people put books into play because, one, they had to first learn that it was possible. When you begin to talk about putting things together, you put manuals together that are going to help people in their lifestyle. I remember when I first met a young lady by the name of Dr. Green, and she had like 40 some odd books. And I'm like, my God, lady, how did you do that? She said to me, Dr. Vern, you want to know what? Every time I went through something in my life and I learned a lesson, I began to write it down. This is how all these books come about. So when you talk about a productive impact guide, this was me literally saying, what can I give entrepreneurs, people who are startups, what can I give them so that they can have a blueprint to being productive? When I start talking about books like this, right? A simple manual, Live Your Most Productive Year. This was before Live Your Best Life and all this stuff. It was just stuff that I used and I put together in a system that would literally help people as a guide and a blueprint to living a productive life. Watch this. You guys know what masterminds are, and masterminds are so important. Why? Because you put a few people together and you watch this. The two things you guys will learn about me really quick. They're two T's, and they're my watchwords: truth and transparency. The moment that you begin to tell the truth, something happens in the atmosphere. The moment that you allow yourself to be transparent, transparency is freedom. So I don't need anyone to judge me. I don't need anyone to speak for me. I'm going to speak for myself and tell you exactly who I am, how I am, and the way that it should be. Now watch this. If you tell on yourself, no one can hold it against you, right?
That's
If
true.
that's the case, watch this. One day intensive mastermind. If I open this book, gentlemen, and begin to show you about how I talk to people about writing your own obituary, oh my God, you begin to see life from a totally different
This
perspective.
just got really morbid.
No, watch this,
No, but
watch this.
I get it.
I want you to feel this. If you had to write your obituary today, that means you would have to say what was your contribution to the earth. What does that look like? How have you been productive with your time, your efforts, and your talents and your energy? And when you write it out, you now start scratching your head. I didn't get to do this. I didn't accomplish this. Man, I need to start working on this. It just talks to you in a completely different manner. One question can literally revolutionize your life. And here's the one word that I want people to walk away with, gentlemen. Why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you want what you want? Why? Come back, put your mind in the person of a child, in the state of a child, and begin to say why. Why do I want to provide this platform? Why do I want to live in this neighborhood? Why do I want this type of home? Who do I want to help and why? Why? That's it.
Adam, he's a genius. I think he has secretly enrolled us in his program from the minute we started this show.
Oh, nothing but
that's
love.
brilliant.
Just sharing, gentlemen. Just sharing.
We were your little guinea pigs. I like this.
Living life to the
You know
fullest.
what?
That's what I teach people.
I'll tell you, with all the episodes we've done, and every episode has its purpose, there is something to take away. My brain is fried in the most positive way possible because it has left, and I mean it, it has left me with things to think about. And it's very hard to be your own critic in a lot of ways. And I'm not sure how everybody reacts to constructive criticism. I'm not always the greatest, this is good. And it's very hard to have somebody like yourself who isn't afraid to say, here's what I've done, here's what I'm doing, here's what you can do, relate to me, I can relate to you, as opposed to talking down to people. And I love everything about what you've done, what you're doing, and I'm just grateful that you're here today, truly.
I'm appreciative, gentlemen. I am truly appreciative to be on with you all, this platform, your people, and all the people that will be affected by this. It's never about me. It's always about how we could be of service to other people, because leadership is not about what you've accomplished, but what the people you have trained, who you've helped, and what they're doing with what they learned from you. So I appreciate you, gentlemen.
So, have you considered going to law school? Because I think you'd make a great trial lawyer.
You would fry the brains of every law school professor that's trying to teach you law. I would love to see that.
Oh my God, you'd kill it in a closing argument for sure.
Oh man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, gentlemen. My passion is just potential passion and productivity. I'll leave the law stuff to you guys.
All right, fair enough.
Judges that you can help.
Understood. I'm more than happy to help in any way that I can.
So where can everybody find your books that you showed?
These books should be on Amazon. They're also on my website, livetoproduce.com. A lot of books I create specifically for, certain talks or whatever the case may be. I'm open. I like to tell people I'm never hiding. You could just Google Dr. Vernet Joseph and you literally can find me. Not hiding in any way, shape, form, or fashion. There are multiple websites that you can find us on, but Live to Produce is my main website.
Very cool.
For those who want to publish their own book, kind of like what you're doing on a daily basis, what advice do you have for them that say, hey, look, I just watched this today. I want to start putting my stuff in writing. Who do I talk to? Where do I go to self-publish? Do you recommend?
Great question. Yeah.
Okay, here's the number one thing that I tell people. In terms of self-publishing, this is a personal plug. I do teach people how to become authors, But when you're looking at self-publishing versus going big box, if you have a story that you can get people to get behind, get some sponsors. Now, I'm going to go into a little acronym breakdown, RCP. If you have the right relationships, the right collaborations, and the right partnerships, and someone can get you into a big box brand, then by all means, get that paycheck and go ahead and write for them. But personally, for the startup and the small business, what I tell them is self-publish your book. Why? Because it's your work. You give money away to people that you don't really necessarily have to. Now, I've got a book camp, a book writers camp that, would help people to understand that process. That's also on livetoproduce.com. But that's why I train people to do their own. Because here's the deal. If you ever want to become a speaker, write a book. When you write a book, you become the authority specific topic that you publish now. You can now break up that book into different talks and go out and speak, train, and do seminars on those talks. So people say to me, well, why write a book? Well, if it helped you, it could possibly help someone else. So this is the one thing that I know. The moment that you publish a book, it literally supersedes your life, because books that we are reading now from all of these great speakers, they're no longer here, right?
True.
But their books are here.
Yep.
And if you ever want to leave something in the annals of history, write a book. So use your story, write a book. Then I start teaching them how to spider web and say, well, you've already created this content. Let me teach you how to make it like this and reach that. So you take all of these different things and you maximize your time, energy, and your efforts.
That's incredible advice. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to through Pitch or through elsewhere, and they always talk about, I want to write a book, or I've had this interesting experience and I want to write about it. And you see very little execution.
Yep.
But I do think people could benefit from someone like yourself to give them the right push, to give them the right motivation to start taking those steps, in furtherance of execution.
Absolutely. One of the number one things that I would tell people is three little words: is do the work. You can talk about it all day long. You and I both know that the cemetery is the biggest place where potential is sitting, but nothing's going to happen with that potential. You can have an intent to do, but until you act on that intent, there will be no evidence and results. If there's no evidence and results, then there's no action, and that action means you've never done it. So, my question to anyone who's listening who says they want to be an author: who are you seeking out? It doesn't have to be me, but do something. If you say you're a writer, it has an ER on the end, that means you should be found writing. If you're a speaker, then you should be speaking. If you're a golfer, that means you didn't golf once, you golf consistently. So I challenge you to do the E and the R to get the evidence and the results behind whatever it is you say you want to do. Be that by doing that.
Incredible.
My life has changed in the past hour. Oh,
All right, Drew, after this, you and I are going to write a book or what?
yeah.
You guys ready? Do it. Let's do
I'm
it.
dedicating it to him.
Yeah, all right, fine. That's fine. I see how it is, Drew. Okay.
You're on the first page, Adam. You're good.
All right. So
Got
let's turn to our audience and see if we have any questions. If you don't mind, just a couple of questions. And
Absolutely.
A lot of people,
I'm here for.
what you'll notice is a lot of people won't catch the live feed. They might type in questions after the fact.
Yes,
so maybe
indeed.
check this out in like a week or so and tune back in. But let's see if we have any questions.
And we're not
Absolutely.
for our time. This is pro bono time, so it's nice.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I mean, I'm good. This is what I love to do. So Elena says, why? Could it be passion? I believe my 3 Ps are potential, passion, and productivity. Your passion will help you to move towards your purpose, but without execution, without action, then nothing will happen. So I can have a passion to do something, but if I don't do the work, it will never come to pass. When you look at the Wright brothers who were able to, take us into flight, well, what if they would have just given up? When you look at Formula 44, do you know why they call it 44 or 404? Is because they did it so many times, and on that last time, that's when it actually worked, right? When you start studying this stuff out, passion is good, but not alone by itself. passion needs action. So yes, your why could be your passion, but Elena, I challenge you to put action to the why, and you'll start seeing the evidence and results.
And Doctor, with the Wright brothers, I'm in Dayton, Ohio. You come visit.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
There we go.
How do we get the books? Yeah,
How do we get the books? LiveToProduce.com. Too easy. Or Amazon.
Okay.
Somebody put the website up. Thanks, Marquez. Appreciate you. Tell your story. How can people identify with you? That's the bottom line. I really believe altogether when you tell your story, it allows people to identify with you. Have you ever seen someone who is, I mean, you just believe that no bad can come to them. They're just, man, they're on top of the world. But then when they open themselves up and begin to tell their story, let's look at a Terry Crews. You see this guy in all these movies doing all this stuff, and then he opens up and tells his story. He's like, man, I would have never thought that he went through that. Jada Pinkett, all of these different people that are out there, The Rock, so on and so forth. No matter who you look up to, everybody has a story. We're all human beings. The key is, will we be transparent so that we can have freedom? And when you do that, I mean, life changes. It says, do you feel like people can get burned out quickly while trying to be the best in all aspects of their life, as opposed to doubling down and focus on what they're good at? Now, I love that, Lawrence. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I believe that what you focus on gets done. So this is not a sprint. I believe life is a marathon. So you take things one small step at a time. People often say, how do you eat an elephant? Not one bite. You got to take small pieces. And I know most people don't eat elephant. It's just a, verbiage. But, well, I don't know. I've had rattlesnake and stuff like that being out here in Arizona. So I know it's crazy, but I've tried it. So when you look at that, doubling down on what you're good at, or doubling down to focus on what you're good at, is good. But how do you strengthen your weaknesses too? So, yes, you focus on what you're good at, but then you also staff or strengthen your weaknesses. So I don't believe you'll get burnt out if you take it one quarter at a time or 1 month at a time. I often tell people we have 365 days in a year, sometimes 366. If you took 30 days to focus on one aspect, then you can get that done and move to the next. When I talk about productivity 360, it's just being real with yourself and saying, here is who I am, and here are the things that I would like to improve upon. So if you take it one small step at a time, then you won't have an issue when it comes to burnout. They never give up on their dreams. Absolutely. I believe dreaming and dreaming big. My good friend, Greg Walker, they call him the big dreamer. And I love that guy because he teaches people how to persevere, right? If you don't dream big, you'll never have the opportunity to live big. What's my good man's name? The Dave Ramsey, where he talks about you want to, what is it? Do like no one else so you can live like give like someone else, or whatever the case may be. But what he's saying to you is this: everybody's not going to do it. But if you want to do it, then go ahead and do it so that you can live like no one else, right? So taking that time and saying to yourself, you know what, I just want to be the best version of me possible. And in doing so, you can make it happen. How do you know how much of your story to share? Now, Diana, that's a great question, because there are a lot of people who are not prepared to share the entire story. So you take it one small step at a time. First, it starts with what you're comfortable with. And then afterwards, you decide, okay, can I share a little bit deeper?